This is in Richmond, and this is a massive protest that people of Richmond clearly do not want a safe injection site, a harm reduction site at Richmond Hospital. That's what that is all about this week.
Some people do, some people don't. They were yelling at each other. Here's just a taste of what it sounded like.
Grew up here, they got addicted here, they get their drugs here, they use out here, and their friends are dying all around this city already.
Let's do more to stop the flow of drugs into the
How about let's get them safe first?
So emotions really running
tense.
high. And I mean, even in council chambers, the mayor had to very sternly talk to the people who were assembled to say, watch your manners.
If you want to be part of this discussion and part of this decision, then you will respect the process. This is not some kind of a theater or a carnival. This is a very solemn occasion where we are making important discussions and decisions for the city.
We need more Malcolm Brodys in the world to just bring back the decorum. He mentioned in a longer version of that clip how he'd been doing this since 1991, and this is the first time it had ever gotten that rude in chambers, right? There's a reason to keep things to process, to try and do these, as he said, sensitive and solemn decisions.
And this was really just about them potentially reaching out to get more information about whether they might have a safe consumption site. And then today, Vancouver Coastal Health came out and said, yeah, no. We don't think this is the right location for the community. And so it's not going to happen anyway.
It's outside of council's lane to
Purview,
even do
yeah.
it, exactly. But David Eby yesterday came out and said, no, we don't need that. And then Vancouver Coastal Health said, yeah, no, that's not happening here, because 25 people last year, tragically, let's be clear, any deaths due to opioids, fentanyl, tainted drug supply, or addiction are tragic for sure. But when you look in places like, say, I don't know, Vancouver, you're looking at 25 deaths in 4 days. Like, there are other places where harm reduction is more urgently required. I think that was the message. Maybe also that it's an election year, so that's not something they...
The problem that I have with it is that clearly we're so divided as a public about what do we do with people who are addicted to toxic drugs. And so I think part of the issue around these harm reduction sites is that when they do place them into a neighborhood, there can be problems that come along with it. Bad behavior, not abiding by rules, setting up pup tents on the sidewalk, attacking people walking by. It doesn't happen all the time, but it happens often enough that a neighborhood will say, I'm not okay with this. This didn't happen before this harm reduction site came. I think that we could get a lot further if we just actually enforced rules around it. There has to be better oversight. If that requires an off-duty police officer standing there to make sure that there isn't going to be crime being brought into the area, then we should do that. But the activists will say, oh, no, that would be a deterrent for people who wouldn't come and use the site.
I like the idea of wraparound
to the
supports.
middle.
Right. Coming to the middle is the key here. I agree with you that there should be some sense of security in neighborhoods that have safe injection. Harm reduction, I believe, is a very important piece of getting people back to wellness. But there also needs to be the support there when somebody goes down and they decide that's the last time I want this to happen to me, but they're addicted. There has to be some place for them to go to get the support they need in order to come off the drugs and maybe find their way back to health and wellness. And that takes wraparound supports. Back we go to the 4 pillars, Linda.
Well, and again, to my point of view, if they had just had better oversight, because in Yaletown, where they put in one of these sites a year and some ago, and the neighborhoods have been up in arm about it, the neighbors, because they're saying, listen, when we're calling and complaining and saying you're not dealing with this, they get no response.
Right.
So if we want this to work, if we want fewer people to die, we can't say no flat out to harm reduction sites. But we can say you have to abide by rules, and we will be responsive when there are community concerns.
I'm going to inject with something that Guy Felicella told me. He said, you don't even know where some of the safe injection sites are when they're properly run in communities. There's a right way and a wrong way, and we need to learn from the ones that aren't working for the greater community and look to the ones that are working and mirror that elsewhere. So this is not a problem that's going to go away anytime soon, but one that we all must be focused on to move closer to fewer people dying.
And, we need to all just take a breath,
Yeah.
right? Because the tensions are really high on a number of fronts.
Yeah.
Protesters tried to disrupt the showing of a documentary about Dr. Bonnie Henry last week. And Victoria's police chief thinks it's time for everyone to calm down.
Yes.
Chief Manick joins us next.
And we're going to take a calm moment here and talk about something fun like our viewing party. You're in on it. You're getting to be a part of it. Leanne and Lovebug Louie in Victoria, we see you.
Linda in New Westminster, thank you so much for tuning in.
And Lisa and Langley. Hi, Lisa. Nice chips. Way to go.
And Lynn in Saanich. Love seeing the viewers and the faces.
Viewing party at checkmedia.ca. We're back in a moment.